Hello, hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Grow Wealthy Grooming. I am your host, River Lee. I'm the founder of the Savvy Groomer, where I teach you to go from being broken to healthy, wealthy, and healthy, wealthy, happy, building a grooming business that you love. Hey, Tiffany, great to see you here live. I apologize for being a little behind. I just got back from Atlanta Pet Fair, and I won't even lie, I completely lost track of time, so forgive me. Let's go ahead and talk about today's topic. Today we're going to be talking about mobile grooming and soaring gas prices. Yes. So one thing I will say is that my belief system, my thought process, take it with a grain of salt, right? Everyone is different. Everyone does everything differently. So I'm going to give you my opinion. And you can do with that whatever you want, okay? So really quickly, I'm going to look up right now because it could have changed since when I did my research on Friday of what the average U.S. gas price is right now. So right now, the average gas price is $4.43 per gallon. Hey, Justin Nathan is saying, my wife and I are new mobile groomers in Lexington, Kentucky. Well, welcome, and welcome to the grooming community with being a mobile groomer. So I think this is really important to talk about what options are, whether you're going to raise your prices, whether you're going to add a gas tax. And I want to thank Erin very much. One of our students, Erin, she actually asked, one of our listeners asked what she should do, and I thought this was a great topic for all of us to consider. Now, if you're in California, I've seen prices as high as $7 a gallon, and I haven't really seen any prices lower than like $3.50. Hey, Miranda, great to see you live. So, what are our options as a mobile groomer? Well, first things first, you know what I'm going to say. Have you taken my price increase masterclass? And the reason I say that is not necessarily to sell it to you, although it is an awesome program. It's because if you remember, in one of the weeks, we go through our KPIs, which are our business metrics. If it's raising the percentages of your overhead, then you need to readjust that. So if you've already taken my price increase masterclass, look back at your KPIs or your business metrics. How much do you need to shift if gas goes to $10? For those of you guys that have not taken my business masterclass, Miranda's saying I'm a new mobile groomer in Utah. Figuring out pricing is my biggest headache. Absolutely. Miranda, I would highly suggest if you have not already taken my price increase masterclass, I'm going to put that right here in the chat for you to take a look at. And in the price increase masterclass, I offer two options. One is just the class, and then one is the class plus 3 one-on-one coaching hours. Those are invaluable if you want to have that coaching time for you to actually look at what that is. Like for me to sit down with you, look over your numbers, answer any questions you may have. It's absolutely invaluable. And with that, you can either buy it where you pay all at once. It's the cheapest way to buy it, and it's going to give you the answers you need. You get access to everything right away. There is a payment plan option, but that will mean that the classes will drip. So every 2 weeks, you will get one new module. So that'll be a 12-week class instead of being able to do it all in a weekend if you wanted to. Absolutely. And again, I really love that class because can I tell you how to raise your prices in 1 hour? No, it took me 6, guys. And it's important to understand that because there's so many factors, there's so many different business models. It's whatever you want to do with your business. And again, I don't teach cookie cutter. I don't teach you, okay, you do this, you do this, you do this. What I say is, okay, if you do this, these are the consequences. Are you okay with that? Do you like that? Do you not like that? Because what makes me happy is not always what's going to make you guys happy. Oh, thank you. Tiffany said you love the price increase masterclass. It is so thorough. But going back to everyone who has not taken this class yet, one thing I want you to look at is, are you pricing appropriately? And appropriately doesn't mean like you feel like it's fair. Where are your prices coming from? Don't say I looked at the highest and the lowest and I chose in the middle. Because what if the highest person just picked that number out of thin air? Right? Where did they come up with their numbers? How accurate are their numbers? Right? You don't know their overhead. You don't know their business model. You don't know what you're going to do. You don't know. Everything is going up. And does that hurt everybody? Absolutely. But a lot of us mobile groomers especially have not kept up with the times. I will tell you this. 10 years ago, when I had my grooming salon, my average Shih Tzu was $55, $65. A lot of you mobile groomers are only charging $65, $75. And if you look at the way that inflation has happened, and if you don't know what inflation is, I'm going to educate you really quickly. Inflation is a general increase in prices and fall in the purchasing value of money. Okay? And you may be like, okay, well, why is that important? Well, if you were charging $20 in 1980 for a Shih Tzu, that would mean you need to charge $65 today. And guess what, guys? That's how much the average Shih Tzu in America was in 1980, was $20 for a Shih Tzu haircut. That means just to keep up with inflation, we should be out about $65. Now, is that perfect? No. Let's look at housing. The average house in 1965 cost $21,500. Now, this is not current. This was before COVID. The average U.S. house was $340. You and I both know housing has skyrocketed. Okay? And if you were a mobile groomer in the 80s, and there are very, very few of you, very, very few of you, but I have met groomers who have literally had a mobile grooming unit over 30 years. And I know like every time I think about that, like 1980s is 40 years ago. But, I've never met someone who's been 40, and I'm sure you guys are out there. But if you were charging $45 for a Shih Tzu in 1980, how much would that be worth today? That would be worth $145 today. So I want you to really let that sink in. If you were charging $45 mobile or in a salon for a Shih Tzu in 1980, that'd be $145. We are not keeping up with inflation before COVID. And now that COVID hit, we actually have to do the work. Tiffany's saying it's crazy, frightening. Freight has already increased 6% this year as of January. Gas has increased 33% in my area in 1 month. Gas is going to keep going up. How high? I don't know, right? We don't know because we don't know what the government's going to do. We don't know what's going to happen in Ukraine, in Russia. We don't know anything, right? And honestly, I am not a political spectator. I am not I don't want to tell you gas is going to go up to $10. I don't know. Why don't I know? Because I'm a groomer. Because I'm a groomer and I'm a grooming business owner, and I don't know. And even the people that may know don't know. So what I want to do is give you some basic tools on what to do. So first things first, look at your pricing. If you're not ready to invest in my price increase masterclass and you want a really easy way to consider how to figure out how much to charge, I want you to go on Zillow or go at apartments.com, and I want you to look at a 2-bedroom apartment in a not crappy area of your city, where your shop is, within 15 to 20 minutes right near your shop, okay? And then I want you to look at the rent, and I want you to times it by 3 to 4, okay? So in my area, and I'm going to pull up my calculator, I would say rent is easily $2,000 a month for a 2-bedroom apartment. So that means that if I wanted to hire somebody, they need to make a minimum of $6,000, okay? Between $6,000 and $8,000 a month to be my groomer full time, okay? So I want to keep my payroll at 30%. So that means they need to groom $6,000, but 70% more. Okay, so you're like, how did I figure that out? Well, I never remember. So all I do, and Google's your friend, guys. You know, it's funny. A lot of guys think, oh, you're so smart. I'm like, no, I just Google. Okay. So I'm going to Google 6,000 is 30% of what number? And generally it tells me. So, okay, 6,000. And it's funny, guys. Let me see if I can just really quickly show you. Well, I'm going to move you guys. Perfect. So I just clicked, I'm going to click back. Hang on. I'm not giving you my cookies. So I literally Googled it, right? I just Googled, you know, $6,000 is 30% of what number? Found it. Ready? So I'm just typing it in. I think you guys can see this, yeah. 6,000, 30% of what number? So that groomer needs to groom $20,000 worth of dogs a month. It's a lot of dogs. So, ready? We're going to take our handy dandy, not notebook, but I always say that, calculator. I'm going to go, okay, so $20,000 a month divided by 4. She's got to groom $5,000 worth of dogs divided by 5 days a week. She's got to groom $1,000 a day. Say 5 dogs, right? Well, that's insane. That's $200. So she can't groom only 5 dogs. She's got to groom more dogs, right? So let's say 8. She's going to be about $125. Now, is this the perfect way of doing this? No. Right? No. Why? Because it's not factoring in a lot of things, okay? That was a 2-second example of how to work through it. But there's way more factors involved than just those. But if you want an ish, like a very vague ish, right? So I look at that 125 and let's say you're charging $80. And you're like, well, shit. How is my groomer going to do that? Again, that's a whole nother conversation. But when you're doing these numbers, I want you to consider, is this based upon the fact that this groomer is grooming 8 dogs? So how much gas will it take that groomer to do 8 dogs? And only you knew that because you have different van types, if you have a bus or if you have a trailer or if you have a van. I will say when I had my mobile grooming business, I had a Sprinter diesel. My current car is a diesel, and I love diesels because I get way better gas mileage. Now, is it more expensive? Yes. But one thing I honestly feel like gas is going to go up a lot higher than diesel, and I'm going to tell you why. Is the government is going to subsidize diesel before they will subsidize gas prices. Why? Because like Tiffany said, with freight, with the trucking industry, if they're going to invest money anywhere, it's going to keep the cost of everything down, the cost of all of the goods down. So if you have a gas vehicle, you want to start watching your gas. If you have a diesel vehicle, of course you want to watch your gas, but I think you're going to be in a better position than those with gas vehicles. So make sure if you're looking at your van, start figuring out how many miles you actually get per gallon. The easiest way to do this is the old-fashioned way. You can have all kinds of gadgets and stuff, but fill your tank, write down the mileage it was when you filled your tank, because you're going to set the odometer, but you're not going to actually set that little trip thing, right? So write down on the receipt how many gallons it was, right? Save that receipt. save the receipt. The next time you fill, write the odometer, how many miles you went, right? And then keep that receipt. Do this for a couple of weeks or 3 to 5 fills. I also want you to write down, if you can, if you take an old-fashioned appointment book, physically write it down. If you have Mogo or another grooming app, a lot of them have check-in and check-out features. So I know I've used Mogo and they have a check-in, check-out. Make sure you're checking it in if you are idling your van, right? See how long if you're idling your van, how long are you idling it for? If you don't idle your van, don't worry about it. Now, the tough part about this is that if you have a generator, on top of having that receipt for your actual van mileage, you also need to write down your generator hours. Is it a pain in the ass? Yes, but we need to know realistically how bad this problem is for you. Because a lot of times people are just freaking out to freak out, okay? Sometimes we're like, oh my God, it's like $5 a gallon. Now, I remember when it was $5 a gallon and I had a car I had an SUV. It was fantastic, but it was 8 miles to the gallon, okay? Now, that sucked. I mean, I used to be like, it's $5 for me to like literally go down the street. It was so funny because like where I used to live, where I grew up, it was like everything was really time-wise close, but it was like 8 miles. I was like, I don't know if I need that bad. Like the gym was like 5 miles away. And I was like, I think I can just be fat. It's fine. We used to plan everything because it took forever. If you're in a van or a bus or a truck, that does 8 to 12. You're going to be in a worse case than somebody who's getting 20 to 30, right? Those of you guys that have trailers and you have a hybrid SUV or a hybrid truck pulling, you're going to be in a much better spot. So instead of freaking out like everyone, find out what that number is. How much gas are you actually dealing with here? Because let me tell you something. So I actually got my numbers from my old stuff. It's funny, I have like a bunch of things in my Google Drive because I keep everything, I guess. So I was using about 40 gallons a week, right? So I'm going to do 40 times. Let's assume that you're going to end up with, I don't know. So I did 40 gallons a week. So if you're at 40 gallons, not a week, I'm sorry, a month. Hey, Candace, great to see you. So if I did 40 gallons a month, then let's say it's going to go up to $10, okay? So 10 times 40 is $400 a month. Now that seems like a lot, right? You're like, oh my God, $400 a month in gas, Jesus fucking Christ, right? But if I'm used to paying, let's say $350, that's $140. You're like, but that's 3 times. Yeah. 400 minus, oh shit, was that 140? So I did 350. You ever like go to a room and you forget what you're doing? I do that all the time with numbers. So 350 times 40 is 140. So that's $260. Now it seems like a ton of money. Now mind you, this increase is assuming gas goes up to $10. Okay? This is assuming if I use 40 gallons a month, then I'm going to have an increase here of $260. Okay. At $10 a gallon. Let's say gas goes to 7 and stops. So 7 times 40 is 280. And let's also do minus 140. That means, so if gas goes from 350 to $7, it only went up $140 a month. It's really not a lot, guys. If you're mobile, this should not hurt you. This number here should be a sneeze, right? Because if you are charging $80 to $125 a dog, that's not a lot of money. Okay, so let's say for shits and giggles, you're charging $100 a dog and you groom 100 dogs a month. And again, guys, $100, 100 dogs is 5 dogs a day, 5 days a week. 5, 15. Yeah, it's 25 times 4. Okay, so at $100, you're making 10 grand. If you're doing 100 dogs at $100 for the dog, 100 dogs at $100 per dog, you're making 10 grand. To have something increase $100, $200, maybe even $300 a month, and again, that $250, $300 is assuming that it's going to be this crazy amount, right? $10 an hour. $10 a gallon. That's not a lot of money. So if you're really that upset about it and you're like, oh my God, I can't, let me put it this way. If $100 to $300 a month breaks your bank, you got bigger problems. You got bigger problems in your business. Now, is it inconvenient? Yes. Is it annoying? Yes. I spend more than that on coffee. Your shampoo haul at Atlanta was probably more than that amount of money, right? You probably spent, if you went to Atlanta Pet Fair, if you went to any of the trade shows, you definitely spent more than $100 to $300. Now you're like, well, what about for the year? That's $1,200 to about $3,600 for the year. Is that a lot more? Yes. But if you are grossing $10,000 a month, that should not hurt you. Now, the question is what to do about it if you're like, no, you know what? Screw you, River. I'm really upset about it. I want my customers to pay higher prices because of this gas shortage. Well, then I would make it really clear on, is this a temporary or a permanent change? I'm going to tell you now, if gas being at $100 to $300 more a month really hurts your business, then you did not do your KPIs correctly. And in the Price Increase Masterclass, we talk about future problems, right? And we talk about how much you need to look at in the future. And unless if you are under the age of 25, gas prices being at $5 should not shock you. We've already done it. And if you're much older, if you're 50 or 60, you dealt with it before in the 70s and in the 90s and in the 2000s. Not quite that high, but like that amount of inflation. We have to plan for this stuff, right? We can't plan for everything, but maybe look at your prices and maybe set your prices assuming gas is going to be at $10. Go back to your KPIs, go back to your business metrics and say, okay, if gas was $10, how much will that be? Tiffany's saying she's 27 and doesn't remember that. You might not, but see, I do. And again, I had a SUV. Everyone had giant SUVs that got like 8 miles to the gallon. It was crazy. And this is also when basically our whole housing market crashed. So we're not really that shocked. Older people, I should say. And whenever people are like in their 20s, I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting old. Tiffany's saying at the end of the year, should we probably see what percentage our expenses increased as a whole to prep for a yearly price increase? So this is the thing, right? Every 6 months, I would really like you to look at your prices. The reason I like having the price increase masterclass is because my goal for you is every 6 months to a year, redo it, go through your stuff again, and look at your numbers. Especially right now. Things are changing wildly, quickly, very quickly. Okay? And if you're like, I'm not making the same percentages that I want to make, right? Because everyone at the end of the month in a perfect world should be doing a P&L, which is a profits and loss. If you're not doing it, you need to have a bookkeeper doing it. And then you need to ask them, about your percentages. It's going to help you a lot. Yeah, Candace is saying, I remember. Like, I am not shocked gases are $5 a gallon. I will be shocked if they get to 10. But it's not that much more. It sounds like a lot more. You know, we spend lots of money on other things. Y'all will spend $1,200 on like 3 pairs of scissors. But the idea of spending it in gas in a year blows your mind. So we need to put this in perspective, okay? Now, do I think charging clients a $5 or $10 gas fee is a good idea? I think that you need to decide if this is a long or a short-term problem. If it is a short-term problem, I think it's super tacky. I think that unless if you are going way out of your way, like if you have a area, a tight route, and you want to charge extra to go out of that route, and your goal is actually to create a mobile business where you have a much tighter route, then using a travel fee and keeping that travel fee long term is a great way. And you can let them know, hey, we're no longer servicing these areas. If you would like us to continue to service you, there is a $25 and you need to make it high enough that if gas goes to $10, you're not going to sit there and say, fuck this bitch, right? You need to make sure you're doing that. So please don't pretend like it's a short-term thing. So make it high, like $25, and then tighten up your schedule. That's one way of handling this, right? And then that client has a choice. They can either go find a new groomer and do that, or they can pay that price. And I think that's a very fair way of doing it. And it solves your long-term problem, which is making your routes tighter. And ultimately, that'll save you on gas and time. It's a win-win. And for the client, they can either, and again, our goal is always to be the guide, not the hero or the villain. It's like, hey, I love servicing you, but if you would like to go that far, you know, it's going to be outside of our new service area. We're happy to continue to groom for you, but it's going to be a $25 travel fee. Candace is saying it sounds charge happy, or that is a problem with your business, so I agree. Yeah, and again, if it's just like, oh, we're going to charge you $5 for gas, unless if your business really is nickel and dime people, it comes off so tacky. It reminds me of places that charge you for water. And you're like, or charge you to bring you bread at a restaurant, right? Oh, thank you. Tiffany likes my nails. I got them done for the expo because I wasn't grooming. They're like almond shaped. They're kind of cool looking. Very fancy. I can't open things though. And I was laughing because I have to pluck my poodle's ears, and I'm going to have to use hemostats, which is probably better anyway. But I'm like, there's no hope of that. And yes, I pluck my dog's ears. She grows like a weed. There's no hope of shaving them because there's no hope of that. So do what you want. I do with my dog what I want. Don't worry about it. So people are like, I'm going to charge $5 or $10 gas charge. Again, to charge it to everyone, again, I feel is very tacky. If you want to increase your prices, right? So Candace is saying travel fee, not gas price, right? Now, I think, and again, these are my opinions. You do what you want, guys. My opinion is that charging them because gas prices is going up when your business is traveling is stupid. You know, I would be pissed if I got priced a quote for a taxi company and then they charged me extra for gas. I'd be like, well, isn't that what you're doing? Isn't that part of your fee is the gas? It's not like you're adding something, you know? Or I don't like when people charge, like there's actually grooming salons that will charge for shampoo, not upgraded shampoos, just shampoo, straight up. You wouldn't charge, if water went up, you wouldn't charge them a water fee, right? It doesn't make any sense. Can you imagine like, well, guys, water went up, so we're going to charge you a water fee. Well, they can't use your services without that fee. So why are you charging it to me? Now, if your prices need to go up, you need to do a price increase. I like you guys to do a price increase at least once a year. And I like you to leave it open to evaluate your prices twice a year. And let your clients know that. Tiffany's saying, wow, I've never heard of charging for every shampoo. There are grooming salons, guys, that actually do. I'm not joking. They actually charge for everything. So you have the groom price, and then they also have a plus nails. So you add on the nails, you add on the ear cleaning, you add on shampoo. But without paying for the shampoo, how would you get the groom? And again, I think that's a bait and switch, and I don't like it. It would be like buying the car and then finding out the wheels they're not included. Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. And we're not talking about something upgraded, right? You're not upgrading their service. You're just charging them what the service costs. And if that's the case, it's time to increase your prices. Now, if you live in an area that is very spread out and you need to have an adult conversation with your clients, and you're like, nope, River, I think that what you're saying is not true, and I need to charge them a gas fee. If I cannot convince you that it is a bad idea, what I would like you to do is this. If you are going to charge them a gas fee, which again, my opinion is it's incredibly tacky and really kind of gross, then I would tell them, and I would tell them it's based upon what the dollar amount is. So for instance, I would tell my clients, when gas is between the price of $3 to $5, this gas price will be X added to your groom. Okay? And when it's 5 to 7, it's going to be X. And when it's 7 to 10, it's going to be this. Or if it's under 5, it's this. And if it's over 5 to 10, it's this. Because then your clients kind of know what to expect. And they know that it's going to go down. Right? And if it's just a sneaky way to increase prices, girl, you don't need a sneaky way to increase prices. Just tell them, like, listen, we're going to be restructuring our prices because it's a whole new world. And, we did that with COVID. Most of the people in my price increase masterclass, COVID's a great, quote unquote, excuse to increase your prices. But it's only an excuse because it's true. Everything's different. And there's been so much change in the last 2 years. Almost 3, guys. Been 2. 2? 3? Where are we at? Nope, 2. Because 2020 to 2021, so 2. I can't even tell anymore. That's how crazy it is. It just feels like this never-ending shitstorm. Tiffany's saying, Jesus, that must have so many charges. Right. Well, some people nickel and dime people. And again, with mobile, you have a higher-end client. You really don't want to nickel and dime them. Candace is saying, would you rather take a look at 3 months or a month span of your P&Ls? It depends, right? It depends because I also, gas is not the only thing that increased, right? So you really need to look at, so Candace has gone through my price increase masterclass. Look at your metrics. How much has your overhead gone up? And we have certain percentages in the masterclass that we suggest. So go through them. What do they look like? And make sure you're actually using similar products. Please don't be like, oh my God, my overhead is doubled. But you went from like Davis to like Le Pooch. Like, stop it. Or, oh man, I was using Dawn dish soap. And now, I'm using like IBS, right? I'm using like Yves St. Bernard. Like, don't do that. Don't do that. That's stupid too. Or, whatever. And it's hard too, because again, that's why I want you to look at the percentages, not necessarily how much you went up, because, you might have been doing a lot of bath dogs or a lot of haircut dogs or whatever. You could have been doing a lot of matted dogs a year ago, right? And depending upon where you live in the country, in January, you might have been really slow. And then now in March, you're a little fast. You've done a lot more. So then you've done more products. You've done more things, right? Tiffany's saying I would like to look at it once a month to see how the business is doing, and also quarterly. Absolutely, that's what you guys should be doing. Absolutely. You guys hear me talk about all the time about a personal budget, and then with your business should have a budget, right? And a lot of you guys that are mobile don't have a business budget, and it's so important. How much have you been budgeting for gas? No one budgets for gas. Why? Because no one does it. I'd like to see you guys do it. And then get a little more creative. Are you wasting money on things, like on travel things? But if you are going to charge a gas fee, I would discourage it. But if you are going to do it, I would tell your clients, as long as gas does not get above X, this is how much we're going to charge. And when gas gets below Y, we are going to drop this fee. If not, just increase your prices. Do the restructuring, but do the work. Don't just increase it by $5 or $10, because that's not going to last you. And let me tell you, like, everyone's pissed off about the gas prices. And on some level, I'm kind of laugh, because again, it's like when gas goes up 30 cents, people like freak out. And I'm like, okay, so you spent an extra what? $5 filling up your tank, right? How much did you blow at Target? How much did you guys spend on your Amazon? And you're just like, I forget what they call it, like the Instacart thing. People spend $40 to Uber Eats Taco Bell. Right? So, and again, this comes from somebody who teaches budgeting, and I like spending money. Obviously, I like spending money. I love money. I love spending money. It's the best part of owning money is buying shit you like with it. But I think it's being overblown for the average person and the average groomer. I really do. Because it's not affecting you that much. You just haven't had prices that made sense for your overall business, and that $150, $300 is breaking your bank because you weren't profitable to begin with, because all your payroll should be under 30% and it's probably at 50 or 60%, right? Because you don't have an emergency fund. You don't have a sinking fund. You don't have things in your business that you should have. And then when things start going wrong, it bleeds and it breaks. Tiffany saying everyone's pissed off about prices in general. I'm about to slap the next client who bitches about prices. Yeah, listen, I think people are upset. It reminds me of my grandparents when they go out to eat and they just whine about how much everything is. They really do. They're like, oh, like this was da-da-da money. I'm like, yep. Or, it was funny. I was watching Pulp Fiction last night and they were talking about a milkshake being $5. And, the Vincent Vega goes, oh my God, $5 for a milkshake. That better be the best milkshake ever. Now, I'm going to look up really quick when Pulp Fiction was created. Right? 1994. Because $5 for a milkshake sounds pretty average. Right? I mean, $5 for a milkshake, not a big deal. I feel like I just went to Chick-fil-A today. If they said, okay, your milkshake's $5, I'd be like, that sounds about right. Right? And that's been 90, 2004, 2014. So it's been like 25 years. 25 years, $5 milkshake makes sense. So if we think about, I don't want to age myself, but over 10 years ago, we were paying $5 for gas. We were paying that. 2008-ish, we were paying $5 for gas. 2021, we're paying $5 for gas. Why are we shocked? So just understand. And you can always send your clients a message if you're mobile and say, hey guys, we're aware that gas is going up. As of right now, we're not planning on doing anything, but we just want to let you know that if gas continues to rise, we may need to look at our pricing. We just want to make you aware. I think that is really courteous. I think that is really adult to do. And I think we all would really love that. I think if, honestly, for me, I think that if my shampoo distributor sent me that message, that would be really nice of them. The other thing too is that instead of just increasing prices, I will say this, if you have not taken my class and you're thinking about raising them, now is the time to do it. You should have done it a year ago, should have done it 2 years ago or 3 years ago, but you didn't. Better late than never. In the meantime, I want you to think about what the long-term plan is. And even if gas gets to $10, ultimately it helps us. Because if a client is whining over $10, ironically, they're whining over $10 a gallon for gas, right? But they're buying a $5 cup of coffee. But they're buying a $5,000 dog. You know, we're paying $80 for a bag of dog food, right? Like when you put it in perspective, it's really not that bad, right? And again, the only groomers I feel really bad for that are mobile are the people that are getting like 6 to 10 miles to the gallon. But you bought a goddamn bus. What did you expect to happen? We went through this already, right? So hopefully you factor that into your business plan. And if you didn't, now is the time to do it. And then communicate with your clients and decide what you want to do going forward. But so here are my tools for you guys. 1, if it's time to increase your prices, go through all of your numbers, create it, and then go ahead and increase those prices. Again, I cannot stress how much I suggest going through my class. It's going to help you out. It's going to tell you how to do it. If you want to do it on your own, do it on your own. I don't care as long as you do it. Okay? If not that, tighten up your schedule in your area. A lot of mobile groomers have 15-minute maximum radius. And then anyone outside of that, tell them either I can't serve you, it's a $25 travel fee. And you can make it 2 rounds, 25 for this for, let's say, 15 minutes and under. And then let's say 16 minutes to probably like 25-ish. And then for anything wider than that, do 50 or whatever you want to do. And again, I'm pulling numbers out that sound good to me. And these are numbers that I have used when I did Feeling Exclusive Mobile. If somebody wanted me to go, there's a lot of places in Rhode Island where it's basically like you're going down like technically a peninsula, and there's really no good way to get down there, no good way to get back. And they're generally like summer homes or second homes, so they're not like a ton of people live there. Or if there are, they're not there all the time. So one way to discourage those clients or to make it worth my while was to charge 25 or 50. And it made it worthwhile for me to do that, to take that extra time and do that. But for you, it may not, right? So maybe tighten everything up. You spend less money on gas. The third way is to actually, which I don't suggest, let your clients know that as prices go up, this is the price they're going to go up accordingly. And I think that's very fair to do. If you say, listen, gas is over $5, I'm going to charge X amount of dollars. I'm going to charge $5 or $10 as a surcharge for now. Once gas goes down below $5, I will remove that. If it gets to $7, $10 a gallon, we will increase it to this. However, once it goes back down, we will lower that. I think that's a very kind, generous way to communicate. If you choose to do this, to do it that way. Again, if you're going to make it permanent, make it permanent. I really hate, I forget what Petco or PetSmart calls. They added it wasn't an ingredients charge. It was like a disposal charge or something. Like I hate hidden fees. Like shipping and handling. Handling always annoyed me. Like, well, obviously if you're shipping it, you have to touch it. It just seems so tacky. And it makes people feel icky, right? The whole point of mobile is it's luxury all in one. You know, it's not like you're adding anything to my service. You're just charging me extra for what you're already doing. I don't like that. You know, another good example is like if I'm getting my hair colored, I don't want to pay a separate charge for the color. Like, isn't that what I'm buying for the service? I don't know if you guys have ever seen that. It'll be like, you know, you're paying for your hair coloring service, but then there's an additional fee for the color. And you're like, so this is just the labor of coloring my hair? So what is the actual cost to color my hair? It doesn't feel good. And you can run your business any way you want. I'm just going to suggest that that is not the way I would do business. And I tend to get away from businesses that nickel and dime me, because I don't know what other hidden fees are going to happen. And I find that like if there's one hidden fee, there's more hidden fees. And I don't really want to deal with somebody who's going to keep adding little ankle biter charges to me. But that's me. And maybe you're like, no, my customers would rather pay $5 or $10 more of a gas charge than have a price increase, right? But if you're going to keep the price forever that way, then why not just go up? All right, guys, I hope that was a lot of food for thought. You know, I really appreciate you guys being here today for my show, which was all about mobile grooming and soaring gas prices. I hope it didn't come off too luxury. You know, I know sometimes we have differences of opinions, or, you know, my way of looking at something is not going to be the way you're going to look at it. But I think that if you charge them for gas, you're going to remind them how much it sucks and just piss them off. I'm telling you now, when someone looks at the cost of freight or shipping and it goes up, they're pissed off because they know it's about gas. It is like putting your thumb in someone's open wound. I don't want to do that. If you want to do that, you do that. But I would not do that. Now, if you want to continue the conversation, you can join my free Facebook group, Savvy Pet Professionals. We're talking about personal finance, business, and lifestyle. You can hop over there on Facebook.com/group Savvy Groomer. I also want to welcome you guys to watch my new podcast called Greedy Bitch, where groomers stop apologizing for charging what they're worth. Episode 2 dropped on Friday, so I'm really excited. We're going to be doing about one every 2 weeks for now. I'm going to see how that goes. If you guys want more and you want one every week, or if you don't mind having it once a month, you guys can just always let me know. And then I would just want to let you guys know again, Business Bootcamp is coming very shortly. I'm really excited. I cannot wait to share more about it. And you're going to find out more next month. Exciting. So I hope this was a helpful talk. I am so excited to have this so I can just drop this into mobile grooming groups when they ask, what do you do? And again, my opinion, my thoughts, yours could be different, and that's okay. You don't have to agree with me. If you do, that's nice. But if you don't, that's okay. All right, guys. Will you take it easy? You enjoy whatever you're doing. Keep your head up. Focus on your business. Grow it the way you want to grow it. Don't let anyone tell you what to do. All right, guys. I will talk to you next week. And as always, happy grooming.